My name is Chris Wellington. We are in Wallingford, Connecticut on Muddy Roots Farm. We've been farming for about 9 or 10 seasons. I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I got out of high school. My dad loves to tell this story, but I thought I wanted to get into computers and become a graphic designer or computer programmer or something like that. So we went to an interview at one of the technical colleges and sat down with the woman, and she gave us the spiel. And on the way home, my dad looks over at me and he says, "So, how do you think it went, Chris?" And I looked over at him and I said, "Dad, I want to join the Marine Corps." And he was a little surprised by that. But I think the military, especially the Marine Corps, is a fantastic place for somebody who doesn't fit the college mold, which I definitely did not. I need to be outside, I need to be moving, I need to be problem solving, my brain's got to be busy constantly, or I end up getting myself in trouble. I feel like I always had a part of me that wanted to farm. Kirsten and I used to go to fairs when we didn't farm, and I would always leave those agricultural fairs and say, "Man, I just want to sell everything and start farming." Our generation grew up after the dairy industry changed drastically. Kirsten watched her grandfather go bankrupt and have to auction off his dairy cows. My parents made sure I was aware of the hardships that were going to take place, the fact that there isn't a lot of money in it. I used to say if I had a nickel for every time my father-in-law told me you can't make money farming, I'd be a whole lot wealthier than I am today. But we did it anyway. We were both working regular jobs. I was going to school to learn how to fly helicopters. All in the same year, Kirsten lost her job. They cut the funding for the commercial helicopter pilot school. We were in a transition point in our lives, and we had access to this farm that her family owns, and we put in a little garden and started producing vegetables for ourselves, started raising chickens. We saw the demand for both of those things in our community. So we're a diversified farm. We raise pasture poultry for meat, forest raised pork, as well as vegetables for the farmers market we go to. We're about half and half between livestock and vegetable production. We get the pigs in as feeder pigs, so they're about 40 pounds, 6 to 8 weeks old. We train them to a 2-wire electric fence inside of a training pen. Once they're trained to the fence, we move them out to the woodlot. We feel like that definitely affects their lifestyle, and they're doing what pigs are supposed to do. They're rooting around in the woods versus, raised on a slab or in a barn or just a pigsty. I think it's a really special thing to get to spend every day with your life partner. It forces you to learn how to communicate effectively. And I think agriculture is one of those spaces where you really need to lean on each other. And that's a lot easier to do when you're husband and wife. That not every day is good. We definitely disagree on certain things when it comes to management or how we're going to triage our day. But she has farming in her blood. She is a very, very powerful woman, and she is excellent in this space. This is exactly where she's supposed to be. Agriculture is very stressful. That's definitely something I did not forecast this to be, was how stressful it is and how emotional it can be when things aren't going right or when they are going right. That's a hard one, and I definitely think it needs to be talked about more. We're trying to get better at removing ourselves from the farm to go do the things that we like to do. Kirsten has a couple horses that she takes out, and that's her mental escape. But yeah, I haven't really found one of those yet. A creative outlet per se, or a hobby. I'm my happiest or my least stressed. It's when I'm accomplishing things here, getting things done, staying ahead of the workload. But that also leads to overwork, to burnout, to not seeing any friends or family for a season, things like that. We had a hailstorm come through here a little over a month ago, and we lost about 80% of our field production in 13 minutes. It was about a $15,000 or $20,000 hit we took, and there was a handful of farmers that donated anything extra they had, sold us stuff at very low prices just to get us back on our feet. Being part of a national bicentennial farm, so it's been continuously farmed by the family since the signing of the Constitution. And what that has provided us and really helped us when we were starting was we have this network of other farmers in the community that look at Kirsten like their granddaughter and would do anything for her or for our farm. Access to machinery that we can't afford. You know, if I need to use a tractor to plow a field, I have people that would happily lend me one for the day. Advice, mentors, there's some fantastic people in our lives that if we didn't have a family legacy of agriculture, that, you know, we'd never know these people. We had a girl come out and visit us last season who wanted to get into farming. She lives in Hawaii, and she showed up and was just this big ball of energy, and she donated like a week of her time to us in exchange for information and experience, and to get to be here farming with Kirsten and I. When you notice somebody's hungry, somebody's really willing to learn, encouraging them, pushing them in the right direction, letting them know they're not crazy. Kirsten and I both have said from day one that part of our job as farmers is not only to feed our community, but it's also to cultivate that next generation of farmer.